So, one of my favorite quotes, Napoleon, in victory, you deserve wine. In defeat, you need wine.
Right.
So what about tonight, Beans?
Yeah, we're gonna need the wine.
Okay, welcome to this week's episode of Luv Subbin, and welcome to Montana.
Welcome to Montana, but this is not the view we expected.
We're at a Cabela's parking lot.
Yeah, this is a Friday night, and we had a terrible time finding anything.
So this is day 117 of our trip, I think.
And probably the worst day that we've had.
This is the bad day. So, you know, and if you think about it, when I was at work, I'd probably have one of these days every week or two or so. This was a bad day.
Yeah.
And this was just a day that... So we had decided to go to Cooney State Park in Montana.
Yes.
It was no reservations, first come, first serve. Okay, fine.
And it was sort of out in the middle of nowhere.
Also fine.
Right.
This state park was by far the worst state park we have ever been to.
Well, the access roads were all dirt, and they were washboard
for like miles and miles.
And miles, and it was confusing in that it was supposed to be first come, first serve walk-ins available, but everything was reserved.
There were different campsites. You didn't know whether to go north or south. There were reservations. It's all first come, first serve, but all the campgrounds we went to and campsites had reservation plaques on them.
Right.
So I'd say this is the worst state park we've ever been to, and we love state parks.
Right.
And I would put it on par, and I've never been there, so I'm going out on a limb on this, but I would put it on par with state parks in North Korea.
You don't know what
I bet Cuba is probably better, so I won't go there, but definitely North Korea. This is probably the worst state park this side of North Korea.
This was unimaginable, and we bailed.
And so we're like, okay, let's bail, because we felt, it's first come, first serve.
Well, yeah, if you want to have a bad position, don't fight it.
Right. So we left.
Yes.
Every KOA in the area?
Yes, was booked. Every random campground that I called was booked.
Every harvest host?
Was booked.
Everything, everywhere, booked solid.
Yes.
No reservations, no nothing.
And there was a city park that I looked into, but we drove by it.
Yeah, that was, sometimes you have a feeling about stuff, and that was a bad feeling.
That was a little squiffy.
So we're here at Cabela's.
Yes.
All right, so tomorrow is off to why we're here in Montana. As history buffs, I want to go to Little Bighorn and look at the Custer Memorial and all other stuff with regards to the 7th.
The Little Bighorn sort of thing.
So we're going to check that out and go from there. But this was, after 117.
You might see I'm looking a little hot and
we're
a little
hot.
dusty. And
it's 91 degrees here. We got no...
but it'll cool down tonight, but it was not a great day.
All right, longest opening ever. But you know what? This is real camping.
Yes.
Sometimes you have real crappy days, and if you're full-timing, you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
If you go out for a weekend, hopefully all your weekends are great.
Yep.
Hopefully if you go out for a 2-week thing or a 1 week, they're great.
You know, and sometimes the no reservation thing doesn't pan out.
We're totally, my arm, I'm out of shape. We tried to get into Yellowstone, no. We tried to get into Grand Tetons, no. We tried to get into Theodore Roosevelt, no. I mean, I even wanted just one day.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to cancel for one day.
We did get a spectacular spot at the Idaho State Park.
And you saw that in this last video here.
But that was it. No more fun stuff. So
so sometimes when you're RVing, you're gonna have crappy days.
Yep.
And this was one of them. And we would have captured some of that, but it just would have been a constant bleep, 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 bleep. Cooney State Park, bleep, 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 bleep. This is like North Korea, bleep, 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 bleep. That's what it would have been like.
Or you would just seen a lot of dust.
Right.
Because I was wiping up dust after that, too.
There was dust. The sub is filthy.
Yeah, and I'm filthy.
We're filthy.
Sometimes you just have to laugh about
The
it.
dump station at our last campground was out.
Was closed.
The dump station at this Cabela's is closed.
Yes. So we're 2 for 2 on the dump station. So it's just one of those days. You just gotta have to laugh about it.
So let's get into the rest of this episode.
Yep. So I am absolutely hot, and we've had a long day. We've had a tow day of 260 miles and just absolute frustration with finding campground. The easiest dish you can possibly make in the Airstream. I did cubed potatoes that are going to turn into mashies. That's super easy. And I fry up some sausages, that makes this super easy.
Now wait a minute, I thought you said you were going to make beef bourguignon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Aww.
Yeah, so a fry up of sausages and a little bit of mashies. Easy peasy to do when you're hot and you're tired and you don't want to heat up your oven.
Yeah, the heating up the oven would be really bad right now.
Yes, we're very hot. Alright, I know you're Ant-Man, but we do need some overhead lighting for this shot, right?
Alright.
Alright, you can still see how hot I am, but we're close to getting done. We're going to be putting some white wine in with the sausage to finish their cooking, and the potatoes are going to boil for 15 minutes, and that's going to be as easy as it gets. So, and the cleanup will be super easy as well, and that's what you want to do when you're boondocking.
And Cindy makes fun of me, but I have the rear Fantastic fan running and the front Fantastic fan running at a full 3 amps. I don't want to hear anything about Ant-Man.
Alright.
I am being generous.
Yeah, I've just added the white wine. We're just going to cover it.
I'm turning this light off.
I added the white wine. We're just going to cover this. And we're just going to cover this for the, and we're going to turn the potatoes down. And we're going to cover this for the 15 minutes that the potatoes are going to finish. And we're going to have an easy peasy dinner. So there you have it, a quick and easy meal while you're on the road and you're kind of tired and you're kind of hot and you don't want to use a lot of dishes.
And you're grumpy at each other.
And you try not to be grumpy at each other, but this is a very easy meal to make and I highly recommend it.
So what have you got?
We have the brown sausage, and these are just breakfast sausages, and just the rustic mashed potatoes with a little bit of mustard.
I think it'll be perfect.
And I think it'll be perfect. As you can see, we're about ready to enter in the Little Bighorn National Monument, and we've got the airstrip behind us.
We do.
So we're going to be touring the battlefield today with the airstrip and maybe finding a place for lunch.
And we've got our America the Beautiful card. There's 2 RVs behind us, so this is probably going to be a disaster. It's Saturday, so.
Yep. It is what it is, but we're going to do this on the way to our next camping spot. See, there's all these RV parking. We're going to just sort of maybe slide right in here.
Yeah, and you can see the RV parking. Quite a few people here. It's a Saturday, so I would have expected that. But yeah, on a normal day I bet it'd be okay, but there's a sub at Little Bighorn. Okay, we're standing here at Last Stand Hill, they call it.
Mm-hmm.
This is where Lieutenant Colonel Custer and the 7th Cavalry
Just sort of held out, right?
held out to the last man. And you can see they have a marker for where each man fell, where the remains were recovered.
Mm-hmm. And Custer has a special one.
Yes, he does. And they said that there was a fire here in 1983 that burned the landscape and the vegetation quite dramatically.
Mm-hmm.
And that allowed them to do a very large survey
Of archaeology.
of the remains and kind of help tell the battle a little bit about what happened.
Yep, absolutely.
So yeah, it appears as if the soldiers, the markers there is where they originally fell, but it appears as if they were reinterred here in 1881 in a mass grave, except for some of the officers. Custer being reinterred at the Military Academy at West Point.
So while they were doing the drain works here, they discovered a burial of horses, and that was representative of their importance to the cavalry, and they reinterred them here with a memorial.
One thing that's kind of fascinating is that the weather on the day of the battle, they say, was just like this, just hot, clear, dust from the battlefield coming up, but it definitely just a hot, clear day just like this. You see back there the visitor center, some RVs coming in, and the sub way back there in front of that Class A with the cargo hauler. That has got to be the biggest rig I've ever seen. 2 motorcycle trikes, 5th wheel, like a small car in the back. Unbelievable. Huge. Sub looking pretty small next to that Tiffin. And here's excellent evidence as to why Cindy and I have a rule that we don't back up even 1 inch without one of us behind the RV as a spotter, usually with radios, as a minimum with hand signals, but usually with radios. We were watching our eventual neighbor pull into a site. He had to make an adjustment and backed his Alliance 5th wheel right into the propane station, doing that damage. He owned up to it. He went to the campground, settled up with them, but still, I don't care if you have a backup camera or what, never ever back up without somebody behind you. There's the evidence. Let's go ahead and take a look at the campground that we stayed at for 2 nights after our boondocking experience in Cabela's. Really so that we had problems with the fridge at Cabela's. And
I think it was prior planning.
That we've got a theory that we're going to be working on here, and we think we've got it figured out. But this was the classic example of what I call a row campground. You roll in, you roll out. Almost everybody who's here has been here for only 1 or 2 nights at the max. It's not beautiful. You've got I-90 right over there. So you get some road noise, but it gives you everything you need. You got a nice level surface. It's full hookups. Everything's 50 amps, so the big rigs can power their air conditioning.
But you do need a dog bone, right?
Let's see. I think it's 32.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have a dog bone, so it's 30, 50 amp.
Okay.
Water was at 54 ppm.
Which is good.
Total dissolved solids. Pressure was at 50, so you see I don't have a water pressure reducer on there.
Well,
But it's also got full hookup, so if you're coming off from, say, a boondocking experience up in Montana or something, you know, it's a good place to dump. It is expensive at 50 bucks a night.
It's also an RV service center, so that could be a bonus if you have to have
Right,
something done.
Yeah, I think I didn't mention the name of it. This is Dalton's RV and Jackalope Park in Sheridan, Wyoming. So yeah, it's it worked. You know, it allowed us to get some stuff done.
It's not beautiful, there's no shade, but it worked. And if you have something that you need to have done to your trailer or your rig, then this might be the place for you to camp.
Yep.
If you're around.
All right, after some time boondocking, we're filling our tanks before we head off. Even though we're going to a campground that's got a water hookup, you just never know. We always travel with a full fresh and empty gray and black, if at all possible. And the other reason for traveling like we do with full water and empty black and gray, as you can see, our fresh tank is ahead of the axles. And I know that I'm light on my tongue weight. I know my tongue weight's about 450, 460 pounds. In the trailer last time I weighed it was 4,800. So any weight I can get onto my tongue, the better. And in that light, our black and gray tanks hang behind the rear axle. So any weight in there is taken off my tongue weight. Also, the stability of the trailer, you don't want any weight in the back. So yeah, knowing your numbers is why you do the things that you do.
Join us next week as we have a close encounter with a landmark that's on our bucket list.
So if you like this video,
Give us a big thumbs up
and if you think we've earned a subscription, click the subscribe.
and comment below if you've been to Montana and had a different experience.
At least been there longer than we were. We come out with RV and Airstream related videos just like this one every Tuesday.
Thanks for watching.